Peace, peace, peace. Back at it again. Another sample chopping video. Broke out the XSE for this round. This is truly probably the heaviest workhorse machine that I use. It's just so fast. We don't have to get into all the ins and outs of the way it sounds and everything. I can make it thump. I can make it thump. I think it's just a matter of what you put in and it's what you get out. Now there is science behind the fact that they do sound different. And the older machines is what it is. But if you get caught up on that, you'll never make anything. So with that being said, I'm just rolling around through some crazy synthesizer records. I come across this loop, put it in the machine, and start getting cracking on it. It's got some strings in there, lots of things that I typically look for when I'm making beats. It is a little slow. I know that's weird for me to say, but boom! I was just putting it through the time stretch, making it fit. It was about 68 BPMs, 66 BPMs, I do believe, actually. And I didn't do too much to it. I just sped it up to about 75, which is still kind of slow, but, whatever. I do what I do. You do what you do. I don't care. Now we get to chopping. The key to chopping is that the pieces have to fit together. It has to sound like you put a puzzle together, right? Like, you don't want it to sound identical to the original sample. Otherwise, why are you chopping it? You could have just looped it. So, I think it's important that when you are chopping a sample, it sounds as good as possible all in one piece without it sounding like a just straight loop. That's not easy to do. It takes lots of practice to do those type of things and figuring out what kind of drums you want to use. I've been on a drum break kick for like the last, year or so. Just tons of breaks that I've collected over the years, packs my friends have sent me, hell, even some of my own drum breaks that I've made, and trying to figure out what sounds the best with the samples you're making. Like you gotta pitch your samples, you gotta tune your drums just like you would your bass line or anything else. Still gotta fit, right? So in order for it to be a cohesive piece of art, it all needs to match up. Now, this sample, it by no means naturally was quantized whatsoever. So the chop that had to be done was super precise in order to make sure they fall on the parts that they needed to fall on. Otherwise, you get run-ins with each other, parts crossing over each other, cutting each other off, and that's not what you want. You want it to be as smooth as possible. So it just takes a little bit of practice, takes a little bit of knowing the machine that you're on, and just trusting your ear. When you have a sample like this, though, just to be honest, it's hard to fuck up because all this, every bit of instrumentation in the sample is disgusting and nasty, and I love it. So you just have to trust your ear, right? I came up with a pattern, so here let's go. Now see right there, I could tell one of those was a little off. So here in a minute, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to adjust in the step sequencer in order to correct that. And you're going to see me touch the screen a little bit here in order to replace the sample where I want it to go. Another reason these newer MPCs are so cool is because you can do stuff like this. This would have taken, you know, a decade to do on a 3000. Hell, any machine without a touchscreen, this is going to take a minute. And here, it's starting to come in. Here it goes. Nope, still not right. There it is. There it is. Gotta dial it in. Make sure it feels right. If it feels right, then you're good to go. Now you gotta figure out what's gonna be next, right? Figure out what the next thing is gonna be on this beat. Because honestly, this one you could just throw in a filter and call it a day, just because there's so much going on in the sample. But I'm an asshole, and I want to keep adding. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to continue looping because I just get stuck in the zone. My brain's starting to think about, you know, what's next? What are we going to do next? What's going to be the next piece of the puzzle here? Starting to go through little pieces, little samples I've collected over the years. Once again, packs people have sent me, little instrumentations, little loops that I've made, effects that I've made, stuff that could go over the top of these samples and see what really can blend in. Sometimes shit doesn't sound good at all, so you just got to keep it moving. But once again, it's a puzzle. And with the puzzle, you want to make sure that all the pieces fit in some way or another. Now, this process that I use when I'm going through and I'm starting to put things together, in my head, I'm thinking to myself, what is, like, do these chords and keys match? Or are they close enough that I can adjust them in the program in order for them to fit? Now you can see that some of these are real close, but not exactly it yet. But once I find the right combination, find the right combination, you're good to go. There it is. There it is. You just got to put the puzzle together. Once you get the puzzle together, everything starts to make sense. I'll start messing around with this. The best combination, really, to make it work. If you were inside my head right now, you can see that I think I figured it out. There it is. Yep. Now I gotta lay in the bass. Now Now, if you're on your computer, you probably can't hear this that great, but if you put on some headphones, you should be able to hear it. Put the bass on note on so I can control how long each sample is when I hold the pad. And in my head, I'm thinking a lot of this just does not sound like sonically put together well enough. And so like I started adjusting volumes here, and I find myself getting a little, I mean, you're not going to see it, but I find myself getting a little frustrated with the volume of things, so I start making some adjustments here. And just a spoiler here, I did not save this beat. I did not like it enough to save it. That's the thing. You have to be willing to say, nope, that's not it, and delete it. Not everything you make is going to be dope to you, and that's okay. You have to be okay with deleting stuff. I like the sample. I just didn't like how everything was fitting. It wasn't resonating with me. And that's just me. You know, maybe it resonates with you and you're going to tell me I'm crazy for deleting it, or you're going to be like, good move, that shit sucked. But it is what it is. You can't be afraid to destroy your art in order to get better. So, there it is. Peace.